This is Patrick McCarthy reporting from Tri-Cities Community Television. We're down in Leigh Square in the beautiful Port Coquitlam. Today we're highlighting one of the artists who has featured his work inside the community village in Leigh Square. I'd like to welcome Brendan O'Leary to the show and talk a little bit about his work. Brendan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Patrick.
So you've got some photography work that, in the studio today, and can you tell us a little bit about what that is and sort of some background to why you're here?
Sure. The name of the show is Transcendence, and it documents the Eagle Festival in Bayan Ulgii that I attended at in 2006. And I was lucky enough to spend 4 days photographing there with other photographers. It was quite the event. And in the process, I've come up with 20 framed pictures that I had produced in Mongolia, and they're printed on polycotton. And it's a real highlight to actually see them on the wall here in the gallery, because it's taken 10 years of work to make this happen in many different ways, in different shapes and forms, and it's just a real highlight to be here.
So talk a little bit about photography and your interest in birds and sort of, why would you go to a festival and start taking pictures?
Well, I was lucky enough to be working in Mongolia with the Canadian Cooperative Association, and after the first visit, it became clear to me that I would be working there on a longer-term basis, and I was always, my camera has always been my companion when I've been traveling, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to actually do some photography. And along the way, I found this festival. And luckily, everything worked out, and I was able to get there and combine that with the professional development work I was doing. So it was quite an opportunity.
So how do you take that body of work and narrow it down to 20 frames?
Oh, you just have to constantly edit, right, until you get down to what you're happy with. And what I was looking for is I was looking for themes and connections in the pictures that I ultimately selected. But behind a number of these pictures are 4 days of getting that picture and being close enough with the participants that they didn't really feel threatened by me. So that it was quite the process. Plus, I was working in a digital environment, and I had made the leap from manual to digital on this trip. So I didn't have enough storage space. So at the end of every day, I edited down so I had enough space for the next day's pictures. But in total, I have 454 pictures. And from that process, I got down to these 20.
So by the fourth day, you're looking at this picture thinking, should I delete it, yes or no?
Yeah,
and
I know.
That must have been a kind of a pausing moment, unless it was terrible, like I take terrible pictures myself. So.
I know, it cleanses to be able to do that.
So what was the connections? You talk about those connections. What were those connections behind those pictures that you hope people see?
Well, it's the connection between, the eagle and the horse and the man, right? And when you see the three of them together in unison, it's just it's a fabulous energy, because you can really see the connection, and just the culture behind it. Eagles have always been mythological in how people have viewed them, and they've been with Zeus, and they've sat on the top of the giant Yarksil tree, which is an ash tree, and they've watched the goings-on of the world below in Teutonic mythology, right? So the eagle has always had a strong presence, and especially here in Canada, the eagle is just a powerful symbol of truth.
And you were talking earlier that even if they're part of their wrestling, they do an eagle dance at the end for the victor. So an eagle is obviously a big part of their culture.
It's a huge part of the culture, yeah.
So in the pictures, though, there's also one other creature. There's a fox in there.
Yes.
And they're alive, and they have that look of I've been caught.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about that part of the picture taking process?
Well, I didn't really like it, and I wanted to go and release the fox, right? That was my gut instinct. But, you know, who am I, right? It's not my culture. This is how these people live, and you know, that's just the way it is. I felt sorry for the fox, though.
Yeah, I think most people do, but it's only when the picture you took, the look on its face is sort of very, you know, you caught the moment for sure, you know, so it was great.
Yeah.
So you also, I noticed that you said a lot of these frames were made in Mongolia, but you've used some different mediums on some of the frames. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yes, I've like this was a new medium for me to try the polycotton, but since then I've actually started to print in aluminum, and I really like it. I like to try and print in new mediums. So aluminum is actually pretty hot, and it's easier actually to manage.
Yeah, and also you've taken this work. You've got 20 pictures here, and
Yeah.
one of the first people I know that used the whole micro-right gallery, even the upper wall. So that's congratulations on that.
Well, thank you so much.
But also too, this body of work you've put it into other mediums as well. A book, maybe a calendar. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yes, I had a book published in Mongolia. It was a joint project with PACT Mongolia, and it resulted in a photography book that was printed and published out there. And for this exhibition, I had a calendar, a 2017 calendar produced, and it actually starts on November of this year, because this exhibition is till the end of October. So I figured, let's see what happens with the calendar, right? So, yeah, one step at a time, and you know.
So when you looked at that process, those 4 days of taking those pictures, and to me, I think of that time or that region. It's like an adventure.
Yeah.
That you had, but tell us a little bit about the isolation or the challenges of being in that kind of environment.
The cold is a big one. Plus, you really have to have a guide and a driver, professional driver. They're the key, right? Like I wouldn't travel in Mongolia if I didn't have an interpreter and a driver. It's just not worth it. And the Mongolian guys, they love the Russian Jeeps because they're so easy to fix. So, you know, you need a hammer, a vice grips, and a big screwdriver, and that's all you need.
So
if it breaks down, right?
Well, it's like I said, you're in the middle of nowhere, so you know you have to look after yourself and your environment as well. So when you take pictures, what are you looking for? What are you trying to get out of that picture when you've taken pictures your whole life? So what are you looking for in that picture?
I'm looking for essence and color and spirit, right? You know, that's what I'm looking for. You know, spirit, right? And something that says something without having to say words, right? You know what they say, a picture paints 1,000 words, right? So I like that aspect, you know. To get people to question, wow, I wonder, wow, isn't that, all those types of questions, you know, to evoke a sense of curiosity, right? That's what I like to do with my photography, you know. And for the longest time, I just used to give it away. People would like it, and I'd say, well, here, take it, right? And because I feel you have to show your work. You have to show it to people, and that's the leap of faith. And it certainly was a leap of faith to go up on the higher wall, but I didn't know I was the first person to do that, so there you go.
So, and for us, you know, we're at the Micro-Right Gallery, and yourself as an artist, you're displaying this work. How important is that, completing that circle from taking those pictures in 2006 to selecting the 20 frames and now displaying them here in the gallery?
Well, it's like the cycle has gone full circle, right? So, and it was literally to the day that the exhibition opened that I actually took the pictures, 10 years. So it felt really good as a completion of a process, of a cycle of photography. And I'm not sure whether I'll continue with that theme, but it's certainly a defining point in my photography. And I love to be able to show it and share it, right?
Well, I must say, I've seen the 20 pictures. They're amazing. I want to thank you very much for displaying in the gallery. and coming in today to the studio to talk a little bit about your work. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Yes, thank
If you
you.
want to check out more local art, please come down to the Michael Wright Gallery in Port Coquitlam, where you can see work like Brendan O'Leary or other artists in your community. This is Patrick McCarthy reporting with Tri-Cities Community Television.